Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're going to have a great night tonight, as always, in our webinar. This is part 3 of our series on cellular restoration. Today or tonight, depending on where you are, is going to be hydration, skin, hair, and aging. So we're excited to go over all these things and talk about how hydrogen is able to help, and we'll give a few minutes for everyone to get in the room, but we definitely are grateful that you're here with us. We're grateful that there's a wonderful opportunity to educate people on hydrogen, and we're grateful for you spending the next while with us. As always, the format will be a presentation and then a live question and answer where you'll be able to have questions answered and right then and there when you ask your questions. So again, grateful you're all with us, and we will get started here in just a minute. Okay. Well, I think we're going to get started here. We've got people coming in, but we will go ahead and get started. Again, this is part 3 of our cellular restoration, hydration, skin, hair, and aging. It will be a little bit lighter on science tonight because it's more about aesthetics and skin and aging and what have you, but it's still going to be very, very good information, and it will be worth your time being with us. So I definitely am grateful that you're here with us. I'm grateful that I love it. People are putting where they're from. We always ask people to tell us where they're from. And really what I love to see is what's the furthest away people are attending from. And so that's always fun as we get going in the evening for people to put it, especially if they're international. We had several international people last Thursday. So that was always great. Having that opportunity to see where people are from. Melbourne, Florida. I love it. Love it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started right now. So today, again, we're going to be talking about cellular restoration. And here's our FDA disclaimer. We're not diagnosing or trying to treat or cure any of your disease models or anyone else's disease models. We are here to educate you on how your body can be less susceptible and not contract disease models based on your body being healthier. So I'm your host tonight, as I have been every week. I'm Dr. Paul Baratero. I'm an ND. I'm a husband of 31 years, which is the thing I'm the most proud of, and a father of a 22-year-old incredible son. And so I'm a speaker, co-author, lecturer. I'm passionate about preventing disease models. That is the thing I'm extremely passionate about, is preventing disease. I don't like people suffering. I don't like people having diseases that I believe are unnecessary. I would rather have your body functioning the way it's supposed to so that you can accomplish what you're here to accomplish on this earth. So I have been very blessed in my life to be in documentaries, on television, radio, all kinds of things. So, you know, that's what happens when you're talking about something that people want to listen to. So tonight we're going to be talking about age and inflammation. And, you know, I'm 53 years old today. Obviously, years from now, I'll be older as you might be watching this. But when we recorded this, 53 years of age, and I have no aches and pains, no sleep issues, no disease models, no problems. And that's what I want for you. And so for the last 20 years, I've been drinking hydrogen water. And of course, Echo as a brand that I founded 16 years ago. And so, I'm doing what I'm teaching you how to do. So understand that I'm here to help you. And that's what it's about tonight. So we say that this is part one, which is the problem, age and inflammation. And yes, age can be a problem, but we can age gracefully. So age doesn't become as much of a problem. What really causes problems is inflammation and oxidative stress. And so we'll go through that tonight. But the reality is when you combine oxidative stress and inflammation with age, that is a problem for sure. And you've heard the saying, getting old is not for wimps. and that's usually people who have aches and pains and what have you. I've even heard people tell me I got to stretch before I get out of bed so I don't hurt myself getting out of bed. So we all know the jokes. We all know those kind of things. But the reality is, if we make good choices, we can age gracefully. And hopefully tonight you're going to learn some pearls of wisdom that are going to allow you to age gracefully. So what causes disease and what I would call premature aging? We're all going to age. And clearly we're not going to be as spry when we're in our 90s as we were in our 20s. We understand that. But people are prematurely aging. People are having aches and pains way earlier than they used to. And we have way too many disease models that are part of our lives regularly that we should not have. So let's get into that. So first of all, it is a cellular dilemma. We do have oxidative stress because of radicals, free radicals in our body. And we have antioxidants that are naturally occurring in our body. And of course, as we eat food, we can have naturally occurring antioxidants. So please understand that the problem comes from oxygen radicals, really. It's not all free radicals, because some or most free radicals have a physiological role or a life-sustaining action in the body. What we want to be concerned about are the oxygen radicals that are cytotoxic or cell damaging. Those are the ones that we want to be concerned about. There are antioxidants in life, like eating raspberries and fruits and different things have antioxidant potential in the body. But there's also, clearly we understand that antioxidants are an electron donor. And when something donates an electron, it becomes a pro-oxidant itself, which now is a problem for the body. So even an antioxidant can become a problem for the body after it's donated its electron. So the good news is hydrogen gas does not have an extra electron. It doesn't donate an extra electron. That's not how it functions. And it is a selective antioxidant, and we'll go over that a little bit later. But one of the most beautiful things about hydrogen gas is that it is a selective antioxidant. And what we mean by selective is it only goes after the bad radicals, those radicals that are causing harm to our body, to our mitochondrial function, to our joints and other things. And so understand that hydrogen is like a smart antioxidant. It only goes after things that are bad. It does not bother the things that are good or life-sustaining in the body. So very, very powerful. The next thing I want to talk about, as we have every week, is oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not natural. Oxidation is natural, but oxidative stress is when we have oxidation to a point that it's now harming our body, and we call that oxidative stress. And that oxidation will be well outside of a normal range of oxidation. Now, we need oxidation to live, clearly, but we do not need oxidative stress. So oxidative stress and inflammation, when you combine oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, you end up with disease models. So that is the leading cause of disease, is the combination of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. And because of gut damage, 90+% of the population have oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, and therefore they are suffering from diseases and aches and pains and other issues. So that is the problem. So let's talk about some other things. Acne, 50 million people. So what is this from? Oxidative stress in the skin. So acne, which affects 50 million Americans, is 40 to 55% of the population have mild adult acne. That's amazing to think about. 50% of the population. Eczema, 7.3% of the adults in the United States of America are living with eczema. 10.8% of U.S. patients, U.S. children are currently living with eczema. So we can see adults 7.3, 10.8% of children. What does that tell us? The curve is going up. It's going up. And so by the time those children get to be adults, that 7.3 will be higher than 10. Okay? Psoriasis, 2 to 3% of the global population, people in the world, are struggling with psoriasis. And 30% of psoriasis patients develop psoriatic arthritis. So it's progressed to the point where they have arthritic pain and conditions in their joints because of psoriasis. And so these are not good things. 86% of adolescents under 24 years of age feel their skin issues impair their confidence with their peers. So 86% of young people walking around 24 years or younger, their confidence is challenged by the fact that their skin doesn't look good. How unfortunate. And then 15% of the 73% of women that utilize anti-aging specific skincare feel like it has no effect on their skin. So that's interesting, right? They're trying to help their skin. 73% of women are using this type of skincare to help their skin, and yet 15% of them say, it's not doing anything for me. Let's look about inflammaging. This is a cute little thing that we have with inflammation and aging. And when you combine inflammation and aging, you have inflammaging, right? It's just a fun word I think we made up, but maybe we didn't. Anyways, symptoms, collagen and elastin breakdown. That's where the fine lines, wrinkles, and sagging skin come from. Reduced cell turnover, dullness, and rough texture. In other words, you're not sloughing off the skin that is passed on. And you guys do know every calendar year, we replace every cell in the human body. So every cell in your body is changed every single year. And so what's interesting is if we're aging, the next cell will carry that through. If we do anti-aging and we want to reverse aging backwards or age backwards, we can do that too. And the next time that cell reproduces, it will reproduce at a higher level. And so we are many ways in control of how we age. I promise you that. So we have a skin barrier. We have an acid mantle, but we also have a skin barrier to protect our body from invasion. And if that barrier is not properly functioning, we will have redness in our skin, dryness, dry patches on our skin, and increased sensitivity. If we have increased oxidative stress in the body, now we'll have age spots and uneven tone of our skin. Telomere shortening. Now, just for some people, you may not know what telomeres are. On the end of every DNA strand, there is a telomere. And the length of that telomere tells us how well or poor someone is aging. And that's what we want to understand is how well is someone aging. So here's an interesting fact. In a healthy cell, drinking hydrogen water will lengthen telomeres. And that's very good because that means that the cell reproduction will go very, very well. If the telomeres are shortened, then it can cause what's called a haystack or stop cells from reproducing. And so we want in a healthy cell telomeres to be long. And that's what hydrogen will do. Well, interestingly, in a cancer cell, hydrogen will shorten telomere length. So it will cause the cancer cells not to reproduce as freely or as well. So these are fun facts, of course, that I can share with you from doing this for 20 years. But understand that telomere shortening means where cellular aging is occurring and overall skin is thinning and delayed repair of our skin. Now, hydrogen will help that rapidly. And so that's good news. Everyone who's on this call needs to be drinking hydrogen water every day, Echo water specifically, and telling everyone that you know to drink Echo water. Now, microvascular, you have microvascular and macrovascular, but microvascular damage, that's where our loss of our radiance in our skin comes from, and our dark circles, fragile skin, these types of things. Dark circles under your eyes can also come from kidney issues. You might need to do a detox. But anyways, microvascular damage can accomplish that as well. So 35% of US adults display chronic inflammatory markers even when they're not showing symptoms. So in other words, you can do a blood test or a biomarker test and show that you have chronic inflammation in your body, but you may not be showing symptoms of that because you're young. As you get older, it's harder for the body to cope. And so that's when you start having the issues. But understand 35% of US adults showed chronic inflammation markers, but they didn't have symptoms yet. So that's very interesting. 50 to 70 million Americans experience chronic pain. Now, we have 300 million in the US. So that means 1/6 of the population has chronic pain. Isn't that horrible? I mean, just think about that for a second. 1/6 of the population. Like what, 18%? Roughly 17, 18% of every person you walk by is suffering from chronic pain. That is crazy to think about. And it's all because of an underlying inflammatory response. So let's get into hydrogen real quick. Hydrogen is 63% of our bodies need hydrogen. So our body needs hydrogen. If we go down to a cellular level, we are carbon hydrogen chains. So it doesn't matter what it is, hydrogen's involved. Even stomach acid. We talked a few weeks ago about digestion. You can't make stomach acid without having hydrogen gas in the body. So all these people that have acid reflux or other digestive disorders, which is a high percentage of the population, if they don't have hydrogen, they can't even produce hydrochloric acid or HCl, right? What's the H in HCl? It's hydrogen. And so amazingly, because of gut damage, they're not producing hydrogen the way they're supposed to. And so therefore they would have disruption or gut issues or digestion issues. How sad is that, right? So hydrogen makes up 63% of the body. But understand a lot of that hydrogen is bound to proteins, fatty acids, carbohydrates, other things. And so we need to have hydrogen gas that's unbound and bioavailable for our body to be able to have the benefits of hydrogen gas, which is a reduction of oxidative stress and inflammation, which is everything we're talking about today. Now, what is hydrogen water? A lot of people don't even know, because I tell you, the number one comment we get online, which just shows how smart people are, they say, isn't hydrogen already in water? Well, yes and no. Clearly, a water molecule is H2O, but there is no hydrogen gas or oxygen gas in that molecule. It is now a liquid. And so hydrogen gas, H2, by itself is a gas. But once you combine it with an oxygen molecule, you now have a liquid called water. So no, there is not hydrogen in water. We in our devices are separating hydrogen and oxygen out of water molecules. We're sending oxygen out to be able to be breathed by us, and then we dissolve the hydrogen gas into the water. So hydrogen water has nothing to do with pH. It is simply dissolving hydrogen gas, H2 particularly, into H2O liquid water. So understand that that's all that's needed to be hydrogen water, is to have H2O with H2 gas in it. That, my friends, is what hydrogen water is. Hydrogen water is not Brown's gas in water. It is not chlorine and hydrogen and oxygen in water. It is H2 gas only in H2O liquid water. That is what hydrogen gas is. And why do I say this way? Because there are so many scam products out there. 99% of the products being sold as hydrogen bottles, they're scam products. They're not really hydrogen. They produce chlorine. They produce ozone. They produce Brown's gas. They have heavy metals in them. All kinds of problems. There's so many scam products out there. It is horrible because people are getting tricked or snookered, as some people might call it. So please understand that it's all about the bioavailable hydrogen gas in the water. That's what we provide. That's what Echo Water is. Echo Water is the best and the original hydrogen technology, hydrogen water technology for 16 years now. And there's a reason why we're the largest and the reason why we're the original, because I helped heal my wife. And Echo Water is a result of healing my wife. And then I said, wait a minute, I want to help everybody else, because I bet you there's a lot of other husbands who do not know what to do with their loved ones. And so Echo Water was a result of healing my wife 20 years ago. And over the years now, we've got millions of people that have been benefited. But understand that I didn't invent hydrogen. I know you know that. What I did was create a hydrogen water system that focused on hydrogen, not on alkaline water, pH, all these other things. Now it's really easy. When I started, people thought I was crazy because we didn't have 1,500 studies. We didn't have 150 years of research. We didn't have 40 years of, or 40 plus proven benefits that you could read about and go, oh gosh, look at this. So understand that when I started talking about it, people were very skeptical. People are still skeptical today, but at least we have a lot of high-end people, very smart people, doctors, professionals, studies to prove what we're saying. So when you make hydrogen water, there are 3 basic steps. First, you need water, H2O, and it can be pure water. That's perfectly fine. What we don't want in this water is contaminants. We want purified water or at least filtered water. Then we're going to go through a electrolysis, but that electrolysis has to be with a specific proton exchange membrane type of electrolysis. The scam products on the market are using traditional electrolysis, not PEM electrolysis. And so it's a big, big, big difference. And even in the world of PEM electrolysis, the PEM part, the proton exchange membrane, the actual membrane itself, there are differing qualities. And if you get a poor quality proton exchange membrane, you'll have heavy metals, you'll have failure of that membrane quickly, and you'll have things getting into the water that are harmful to the body. You also have companies that kind of cut corners and they don't put platinum on both of their electrodes. They only put platinum on the electrode that's on the side of the proton exchange membrane that's in contact with water. Well, the problem is if the proton exchange membrane fails and now the water does get down into that other electrode, now you're going to have contaminants in the water. Titanium, for example, and that definitely can cause cancer and other issues. So you need to be wise, and you need to tell everyone you know to be wise about choosing the equipment so that it's high quality and you're not harming yourself while you're trying to help yourself. Here's 4 cellular functions that hydrogen regulates. It reduces inflammation, improves mitochondrial health, and balances our microbiome and cellular repair and regeneration. I went over this last Thursday, but when you reduce inflammation, you're going to reduce pain, improve your flexibility, your cognitive function, brain function, and reduce allergy severity. When you increase mitochondria, that's all about energy production, ATP production, and our stress resilience. When we change what's called microbiome, or balance our microbiome, that's our gut. What that really is a fancy word for gut. Okay, so we want our microbiome or our gut to be balanced so that we can have a good immune function, we can have good antioxidant pathways functioning, all these types of things. Cellular repair and regeneration. Clearly, we want to have good wound healing. If we cut ourselves or we bruise our hand, we want the body to repair itself quickly. And that is one of the big things that hydrogen can help with. Here is a great study from Russia from many years ago showing why, one of the hypotheses as to why hydrogen water and eco water can help the gut, help repair the gut. In this study, you can see that the bacteria in the gut are the most important part of your gut function. So what people don't understand is that when we talk about gut dysfunction, we're simply saying the electrical potential and the type of bacteria is incorrect. And interestingly enough, if the bacteria is incorrect in your gut, then the type of foods you will be able to consume will be very different, because certain bacteria can process certain types of food. When you have aerobic bacteria, for instance, carbs and sugar is what aerobic bacteria is good at. When you have anaerobic, now anaerobic bacteria like fatty acids and fiber. And I'm oversimplifying a bit, but the whole point is that is a big difference. Because if we have too much aerobic bacteria, then what are we going to want? Carbs and sugar all the time. So your food cravings may not have a lot to do with you. It may simply have to do with the bacteria in your gut. So you can take a little bit of consolation and be like, oh, I just need to change my gut bacteria, and then I'll like proper foods again. But there's a lot of people that eat salads and have diarrhea, for example. And a lot of times it's because you do not have the right bacteria to process fiber. And that's what we need to make sure people understand. Don't feel bad about yourself. Just get your anaerobic microflora increased, because that is how you're going to be able to process fiber and fatty acids properly. This study is talking about the fact that what's called strict anaerobes, like a 300 to 400 millivolts of electrical potential. And eco water has a negative 400 to negative 600 millivolts of electrical potential. So when you drink that and that goes down into the intestinal tract, it can help. It can help to restore the proper electrical potential in the gastrointestinal tract. All right, so now let's talk about this first study, which is called Intermittent Environmental Exposure to Hydrogen Prevents Skin Photoaging Through Reduction of Oxidative Stress. So clearly, photoaging can have a collagen degradation, or in other words, your collagen can be reduced. UVA, which in sunlight you have UVA and UVB. UVA can do DNA damage, and so that was one of the things that they looked at here. And let's go ahead and read the results. Intermittent administration of hydrogen gas by our system prevented UVA-induced epidermal signs such as hyperplasia, melanogenesis, and appearance of senescent cells, and UVA-induced dermal signs such as collagen degradation. So, what does the conclusion say? Our findings support the notion that long-term intermittent environmental exposure to hydrogen gas in daily life has a beneficial effect on UVA-induced photoaging. So again, this is wonderful. This is wonderful, being able to see that hydrogen can have a beneficial effect on UVA-induced photoaging. And in this study, they had 8 hours. People were basically, during the daytime, 8 hours of UVA irradiation, mimicking outdoor exposure, and nighttime, 16 hours of hydrogen gas inhalation. And so that's just so you know, that's how they conducted this study. And it's important to understand that. So what did they see? They saw a reduction of signs of photoaging on skin and reduction of oxidative stress and DNA damage caused by UVA rays. That's the damaging rays in the sun, or the UVA. UVB are great. UVB is where we can generate vitamin D3 in the body naturally. But UVA is just going to cause DNA damage. So let's look at our next study. This is a hydrogen bath and oxidative stress. This is a topically applied molecular hydrogen normalizes skin parameters associated with oxidative stress. So what do we see in this study? I'm going to kind of give you the cliff notes. Number one, hydrogen as a topical antioxidant. So it does show promise as a selective antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory agent, and it can change pigment of aging, pigmentation and wrinkles in the skin. So first, you need to understand that. In this first human pilot clinical study, hydrogen-rich water was applied topically for 4 weeks. It improved measurable skin parameters such as pigmentation, wrinkles, and biological skin age in adults. And they were all healthy adults, by the way. Number 3 thing I want to point out is there was a notable reduction in pore visibility. You know, pore visibility, the pores on your skin, they shrunk some. So that just helps us understand that hydrogen has age-dependent or preventative benefits. Number 4, safety and tolerability. The treatment was well tolerated with no adverse effects. So again, this was important to understand. There were no adverse or contraindications for those individuals in the study. And of course, you always want to have more studies. So number 5 would be we want to have more studies. This next study is also hydrogen bath with hygiene. And this is very interesting because this was hydrogen water cleansing keratin plug clogged hair pores and promotes capillary blood streams more markedly than normal water does. So in this study, what's interesting is immersion of hands in hydrogen-rich warm water significantly improved fingertip capillary blood flow, about 120%, versus normal warm water, lasting even 60 minutes post-immersion. So what this suggests is that the hydrogen exerts a vascular benefit beyond the thermal effect of water, because clearly they did warm water and warm hydrogen water, and there was a big difference, 120% difference. Number 2, improved skin hydration. So bathing in hydrogen increased skin moisture by 5 to 10% compared to the baseline, the individuals that were baseline. So in other words, when they started, they tested their skin, and then they got in the hydrogen bath and got back out, and they had increased 5 to 10%. The hydration effect persisted for 7 days. Understand, that's a really good sign. Though somewhat limited by hydrogen's lower solubility in water compared to room temperature water. Now, let's talk about the keratin plug cleansing. Hydrogen warm water markedly, this is what they said in the study, markedly enhanced the cleansing of keratin plugs from skin pores. On the cheeks, plug removal increased 2.3 to 4.47 times compared to normal warm water, and the plugs cleansed rose 1.3 fold. So the surface area of the cleansed plugs rose 1.3 fold. So also they saw a more noticeable improvements were observed in the cheeks than on the nostril, indicating differential skin responses depending on pore size, depth, and sebaceous activity. Number 5, unique mechanism beyond heat. Hydrogen water or hydrogen warm water penetrates deeply into hair pores, helping cleanse residues unreachable by heat alone. Demonstrates that hydrogen exerts effects not attributable solely to warm temperature, highlighting its potential as a therapeutic hygiene modality. So, very, very good. Again, tonight we're talking about bathing, and I told you last week that we were going to do that. We were going to go over different benefits. And last week we talked about inhalation versus bath versus drinking water, and we saw that all three had similar effects in the body, but the pathways were a little bit different, whether it was inhalation or bathing or drinking water. But what we learned, and we have always learned, is that hydrogen-rich water has more benefits systemically than any other mechanism of delivery, but bathing can help skin radically. So I want people to make sure they understand that bathing in hydrogen water can have tremendous benefits with your skin tone, your collagen, and your acid mantle. All right, so this next study was simply cosmetology. So we're talking about how beautiful your skin can be. So molecular hydrogen is wonderful in influencing small systems in the body, including skin. And one of the things that we saw is that hydrogen combats oxidative stress by scavenging free radicals and suppressing inflammation. So this helped these skin cells in this study from damage and support healthier cellular functions. Visible skin benefits. Topical or systemic hydrogen applications were shown to improve skin texture, tone, and barrier function. Clinical outcomes include reduced redness, itching, irritation, along with repair and regeneration of damaged tissue. And also what they saw is that there are cosmetic benefits because hydrogen boosted the endogenous antioxidant enzyme activity. Hydrogen strengthened the skin's defense capacity and delays signs of aging. So that's some good stuff. For those of you that want to continue being beautiful through your aging process or want to be more beautiful, hydrogen baths. This one is the effects of hydrogen-rich bath on visceral fat and skin blotch with boiling-resistant hydrogen bubbles. So the study confirmed that dissolved hydrogen in water remained present even after 15 minutes of boiling, with concentrations persisting up to 24 hours. This shows that hydrogen-rich water is resistant to thermal loss, making it practical for hot bathing applications. Number 2, subjects bathing in hydrogen-rich warm water experience a significant reduction in wide, dense, and irregular skin blotches. This effect is thought to result from hydrogen's reductive bleaching of melanin and lipofuscin, along with the promotion of dermal cell renewal. Number 3, and this has to do with the visceral fat that we talked about. Ultrasound analysis revealed that visceral fat area decreased from 47 to 36 centimeters squared, and abdominal circumference was reduced from 91 to 82 centimeters in female participants after hydrogen bathing, indicating metabolic and cosmetic slimming benefits. Boom. if you want to have visceral fat reduced and look your best for bikini time in the summertime, get a hydrogen bath and use that on a daily basis, or less, but I'm just saying, speed it up. Number 4, cholesterol and glucose modulation. After 6 months of daily hydrogen bathing, LDL cholesterol decreased by 16.2%. However, fasting blood glucose increased by 13.6 in one female subject, suggesting beneficial lipid modulation, but requiring more study on glucose balance. So that was really good. And because of this study, the Japanese Center for Anti-Aging Medical Science was authenticated, and they're wanting to do more studies. All right, so this is metabolic syndrome, and this is somebody that is one second, let me make sure. Yeah. Okay, I'm on track here. So these are two different individuals, and you can see these were about skin blotches. And one on the left is a male 43-year-old with an informed consent, immersion in hydrogen-rich water for 15 minutes, 3 times a week. And then they did hydrogen-rich water at room temperature for 10 minutes once a week. And so if you see number A, which is your top left, that's before hydrogen-rich water. B on the right is 7 months after hydrogen-rich water treatment. And you can see that a large amount of that splotch was totally healed. And so it's amazing. If we move over to figure number 3, you can see the top for hand, back, and breast. And the top line is before, the bottom line is after. So you can see the blotch decreasing effect and improvements on skin by hydrogen-rich water bath. This is a 48-year-old with his informed consent. Immersion in warm hydrogen water for 10 minutes was performed once a day for 1 month. And you can see clearly on the hands, the back, and the breast, very different how hydrogen bathing. So again, we can have hydrogen bathing so that you can change aesthetics, you can change blotchiness of skin. Here you can see the suppressive effects of hydrogen-rich water on visceral fat. So can you see this individual? This person had a bath for 10 minutes once a day for 1 month. And A, the female 41-year-old with her informed consent, A1 through 3 is before 1 month, 3 months after treatment. The red circles indicate 2 transverse wrinkles and 4 radial wrinkles around the navel. B, this female was 42 years old with her informed consent. And you can see B1 and B2 is before and after, a month after hydrogen-rich water. And you can see the difference in visceral fat, basically. And so you can also see A1, 2, and 3, and you can see big differences in the way their visceral fat is appearing. Okay? And the yellow triangles are there to show you how much was lost, where in the B1, you can see it goes straight down, and in the other, it's curved inward, so you're actually removing fat content. Here is a study on 30 men and 30 women for metabolic syndrome, and it's a randomized controlled study. So obviously, metabolic syndrome is oxidative stress and obesity and other issues. So they were looking at all these different factors with these physiology on these individuals, and they wanted to see what's going to happen. And so this is a double-blind, placebo-controlled 60 subjects, half male, half female. And what did we see in the results? Supplementation with high concentration hydrogen-rich water significantly reduced blood cholesterol and glucose levels, attenuated serum hemoglobin A1C, and improved biomarkers on inflammation and redox homeostasis as compared to placebo. So clearly, it also reduced body mass index and waist to hip ratio. So this is simply saying it can be a help for body mass index and reducing the risk factors for the issue of metabolic syndrome. Now, I'm going to go over a couple of highlights here. Number one, what we see in the clinical outcome was that there was a significant reduction in blood cholesterol, glucose levels, and HbA1c. So this is wonderful. We also saw an improvement in inflammatory and redox biomarkers compared to placebo, and a mild but favorable reduction in body mass index and waist to hip ratio. So again, this is a non-invasive therapy having to do with metabolic syndrome and body mass index, waist to hip ratio. All right, the next, we're talking about balneal therapy. Now, balneal therapy is just a wonderful thing to do. It's just another word for hydrogen bathing or hot water bathing. It's not hydrogen bathing, but balneal therapy is getting in a warm bath or a hot bath. So let's look at this study. And they were investigating what happens with UVB-induced skin damage in hairless mice. So clearly no hair to stop UVB. And so they were wanting to see what's going to happen with a number of different things. So let's go through. This study reported increased glutathione peroxidase activity after hydrogen-rich bathing, indicating that hydrogen supports endogenous antioxidant enzyme systems to counteract oxidative stress from UVB exposure. Hydrogen-rich bathing lowered key inflammatory markers, interleukin 6, 1 beta, interleukin 6, TNF alpha, anyways, a number of different pathways. And so electron microscope revealed fewer damaged corneocytes and less ultra-structural disruption of hydrogen-rich water-treated mice, implying that hydrogen-rich water helps preserve skin barrier integrity and cellular architecture. And so again, just another study showing yet another good thing to do with bathing in hydrogen-rich water. This one's kind of funny, and this is our last one, but this is the conditions of the hairline of chinchilla after introduction of hydrogen antioxidant into the diet. And so it was just interesting because what did hydrogen do? Chinchillas consuming hydrogen-rich water had thinner guard and downy hairs compared to the control group, suggesting altered follicle development and structure. The experimental group exhibited longer downy hair, a greater number of hairs per follicle, indicating that hydrogen water positively influenced hair density and coverage. Also, the fur from the hydrogen water group was described as stronger and softer, showing improved tactile qualities and resilience. The chinchillas in the hydrogen water group showed a reduced tendency to gnaw or pull out their own fur, implying possible improvements in stress response or skin fur health. Also, hair from experimental group had fewer organic substances but higher mineral content, suggesting that hydrogen-enriched water may alter biochemical composition to create healthier, more resilient fur. So, I think all these studies are wonderful to understand. I think that it's fun to really understand and support the fact that we are supposed to have hydrogen in our skin, in our body, and even chinchillas are supposed to have it in their fur. So it helps support their fur and skin relationship. So let's get into talking a little bit about the Echo Flask here. This is the most advanced portable hydrogen water product in the world. And you can see it in my hand here. You can also see that it is a touch screen, and you can clearly turn it on right there. And once you turn it on, you can see there's a timer. You can also see all those hydrogen bubbles coming up. You can see it there, right? The darker blue. So this is the most advanced and the highest performing portable hydrogen water product in the world. So it is a 12-ounce capacity. So 50% increase over our last product called the Echo Go Plus. You can accomplish up to 8 parts per million, which is 16 times what's considered therapeutic. I'm going to put it right here so it's in focus. It will not chlorinate your water like all the scam products and the other products on the market on Alibaba and Amazon that introduce or make chlorine, which is not what you should be putting in your body. On the bottom, you can see the light right there. That is where oxygen, chlorine, and ozone come out. And the scam products don't have that either. They don't have a proton exchange membrane to filter out all of the contaminants and the things in the water you would not want. So please understand that there is a major difference. And of course, there's a higher cost to having the highest quality, most effective thing that's going to help your body. We can't even manufacture our product for the cost that these scam products are being sold on Amazon and Alibaba. And that's because the cost of the components, you can't do that. You know, anytime you have a high performing product that is engineered appropriately, has quality components that are here to last you for many years, not like these other bottles that last 3 months, 6 months, and you throw it in the trash. This has a 5-year warranty. A 5-year warranty. And it was the first product in the world to have an app controlled, to be able to change colors in the LEDs, to really personalize it to your needs. And so all you do is put water in it through the top, charge it with the USB-C charger right there, and fill it with purified or filtered water. In a 10-minute cycle, you have 6.07 minutes or parts per minute. In a 20-minute cycle, you have 8.25 parts per million. Not parts per million, sorry. 6.07 parts per million, 8.25 parts per million in a 20-minute cycle. Keep in mind that we also tested if there's any contaminants coming out of the product, and there was zero. The only thing we are introducing into the water is hydrogen gas. So it's important to understand that we manufacture the best product in the world, and we really need people to understand that Echo Water is the true hydrogen water in the world. It was the original, and it is still the best in the world. So what are people saying? That this product improves sleep, lowers joint pain, increases immune function, better digestion, lower fatigue, and lower recovery time. So this is what people are talking about. Now, you all know that Echo, we are the largest company in the world, and we have the largest product line. We have everything from portable products to whole house filtration systems. We have machines that filter your water and give you a 1/4 gallon a minute of hydrogen water. We also have hydrogen bath units. We have inhalation where you can breathe in hydrogen. We have every possible way, even including a drink mix that has 3 prebiotics as well as hydrogen. So we have every possible way to get hydrogen into your body effectively, and that's what we are. When you are checking out on our website, please make sure you're getting the ebook so that you can get more information. Here is a code that is available called Echo Elite. And keep in mind that we are wanting to make sure that you get a discount on all of our products for being here every week and hearing these webinars, this education, wanting to make sure that you get your 10% discount on all products, all Echo products, 10% off. And again, this is our Becca Kevern, who's incredible. She is our customer service director. Trace Waterland is our tech support manager. And so these two individuals are just amazing. They care so much. They're here to make sure that customers have a wonderful journey with Echo. and that they're taken care of when needed. And your link to get any support is support.echowater.com. That's where you can go to get help if you have a product and you have questions or you have concerns or you have a need. Support.echowater.com. Now, I am going to go over to the question and answer, and I'm going to be answering all of your questions because I don't see anyone else answering them. All right, so here is our first question. Razaya says, how long does it take to see the benefits from drinking hydrogen water in telomere cells on average? It is pretty quick. I don't know the exact time frame. I'm not aware of a study that shows the exact time for telomeres to respond, but it will be pretty quick. And so just know that it's a somewhat fast response, but I don't know the exact timing. I'll have to do a little bit of research for you. I'm going to ask here. I'm going to see if I can do a little bit of some research while I'm sitting here. So let me go on to the next question, and then I will try to answer that one for you. Lila, or I hope I said that right. How long is the life cycle of an Echo Flask? Great question. There is a 5-year warranty, and it's going to last at least 5 years producing hydrogen at peak. Inside here is a proton exchange membrane. Those last at least 1,000 hours of use. And if you did the math, 1,000 hours is you using your flask 3 times a day for 5.5 years every day, 3 times a day for 5.5 years. And so you know that you're going to have that for 5.5 years. So there's no lessening of hydrogen with our products. Jack says, should Echo Water be consumed on an empty stomach for microbiome benefits? Absolutely no problem drinking on an empty stomach. First thing in the morning, 20 ounces, 24 ounces. Drink that, get it down into your intestinal tract. That would be great. Jan, isn't there a big difference between 16 ounces of hydrogen 16 hours of hydrogen inhalation and 3 to 4 bottles? I will tell you that hydrogen really isn't about exposure. Hydrogen is a signal modulator, and having hydrogen present will cause pathways to function. Because it's a signal modulator, drinking water can have up to 3 to 5 day later effects because hydrogen is a signal modulator. So having them breathing 16 hours, you got to understand that an inhalation session is an hour. So drinking 16 ounces or 20 ounces of water would be similar to being an hour. And so having someone sleeping for 16 hours with inhalation, you're just saturating the body. And I don't know that that's going to be any more beneficial than if they would have done intermittent exposure. But you could argue clearly that 16 hours of inhalation could be different than 3 to 4 bottles of an Echo Go Plus. Yes. However, and the good news with an Echo Go Plus is you're going to be drinking that every day, hopefully. And so you have a stacking effect in the body. Rhonda, how much hydrogen water need to be in the bath? It's just about taking a bath, and you want to have your skin covered. It's like, just take a bath. There's no specific thing. With the hydrogen bath, we have a bath unit that you connect to a tub, and it's going to pull the bath water into the unit and then put it back in with hydrogen in it. And that's what it means having a bath unit. It is a specific Echo Revive product that will pull the water from the bathtub and put it back in with hydrogen in it. And that water will have about 2 parts per million of hydrogen gas. And, after 20 minutes of functioning, you'll have at least 1.5 parts per million in the water. Jack says, do you recommend using Echo Water topically? Sure, absolutely. We make the Echo Revive that makes a bath unit. You could also make the water in the flask, put it in put it on your skin directly, no problem. Melody says, how do you get water warm without losing hydrogen? Well, one of the studies we talked about is that heating up the water didn't cause the hydrogen to immediately go away for a bath, that even after 15 minutes, and we've done the testing as well at H2 Analytics, and they tested the water 15 minutes later, and there was still 1.5 parts per million, even though the water was like, 100 degrees, 99 degrees. So that's typically what you would take a bath in, obviously, is warm water, and so the hydrogen will last fine. Melody, hydrogen water or hypochlorites? I don't know what you're referring to. We don't do anything with hypochlorites. We do hydrogen water, which is H2 gas. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Sally, how do you get a hydrogen bath? You purchase a Echo Revive from our website, and you would use the code Echo Elite. In fact, let me do that. Use that code Echo Elite, and you'll get 10% off, which is a big discount for the Echo Revive. Can I put ice in the hydrogen water? Yes, Ed, you can. Melody, this isn't happening to me. Isn't this much greater concentration than my bottle that I drink 3 to 6 of per day? How realistic? I don't understand your question. If you have the Echo Go Plus, those in a 10-minute cycle will make 4.5 parts per million. The new one is 6 parts per million in a 10-minute cycle. If that's what you're referring to, hopefully I've answered your question. Steve is saying, is there a way to force the app to sync with the Flask to update? Yes, you just delete the Flask from your app and delete the app from your phone and re-download it in through whatever phone service you're using, iOS or Android. Android? I forget what their system is called, but you can force it, and you can also delete the app from your phone if you're having that kind of issue. Yes. I can tell you there's a lot of firmware updates, and just recently the battery life has increased from 4 uses to 6 or 7 uses with one battery charge. So they have really worked hard to have the efficiency of the battery, and that works for your existing Flask too. So as you change the firmware in your Flask, the amount of uses have just been increased by 50 to 60%. So they're doing a great job to constantly improving the Echo Flask. Linda says, is hydrogen water and structured water the same thing? No, hydrogen water is water with hydrogen gas in it, H2 gas. Structured water can mean a number of different things, and usually it just means having energy or frequencies in the water. So it's completely different than hydrogen water. Both are fine, both are good. And when you run water through our Flask, you are doing some structuring, but it's clearly hydrogen water is what you're buying. Will you offer inhaled O2? No. Carrie, you get plenty of oxygen from the air. Please understand, with our Echo Refresh, our inhalation machine, you are already getting oxygen and hydrogen. So with the inhalation device that we make and sell, you're getting oxygen and hydrogen if you want, or you can just get hydrogen, or you can just get oxygen. You have both options with that device. Hopefully that helps you. Dr. G says, I've been drinking half my body weight in ounces of water since last week's webinar. I feel so much better, and the benefits of my daily flask consumption have literally accelerated exponentially. I am so happy to hear that, Dr. G. Sending you a big hug. It's amazing what just drinking water can do, right? From a metabolic process. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Love that. Frank says, how long will the hydrogen last in the bottle once I run a cycle? Once it's under pressure, like this is under pressure now, it's going to last quite a bit, for many hours. But if I was to take this and release the pressure and open the lid, pour it in a glass, you have about 2 hours to drink. I hope that answers your question wonderfully, Frank. Razia, I heard somewhere that I shouldn't drink hydrogen water with a meal. Is that a myth, or can I drink Echo water? You can drink Echo water with your food. In fact, it'll probably help your stomach acid. But I would say that I don't recommend drinking any water during a meal because you can dilute stomach acid a bit. I would drink water half an hour before you're going to eat, and that will really help your system. But if you do get thirsty while you're eating, because a lot of times your body will get thirsty, then drinking hydrogen water is okay. Melody, okay, warm is good. Hypochlorous, the clean with no salt. Yes. No, hydrogen bath is what we're talking. All the studies I talked about tonight is hydrogen gas in water. Hypochlorous has a totally different effect. That has a killing agent, and that's a disinfectant. And hypochlorous is wonderful, but I'm talking about everything I talked about tonight was hydrogen gas, the benefits of the skin, reducing wrinkles, increasing collagen, the blotchiness, all of that is hydrogen bathing, hydrogen gas, H2 gas. Melody says, right, but weight loss, fat loss, that's all hydrogen. It's not hypochlorous. Hypochlorous isn't going to cause your fat to reduce and sculpting like you saw in those pictures. That's hydrogen. Susie says, how long does the hydrogen stay in the water if you add ice regularly? It might increase the time because the colder the water, the more condensed it's going to be, but I don't know by how much, and we haven't tested it, so I can't really communicate. Melody, how do you change the firmware? It's going to automatically change. When you connect to your flask with the app, it's going to automatically update the firmware as we release new firmware. Is the hydrogen water still H2O? Pamela, it is H2O, but you also have H2 gas riding along with it. But the H2 molecule does not combine with the H2O water molecule. You're not creating a new molecule. It's just water, H2O, with H2 gas. Melody says, I love my flask and clean. I just want to understand. Totally. Melody, I'm here for you to understand. I want to make sure that you do understand because we appreciate you so much and the trust that you've placed in us. Sandy, unfortunately, I missed most of this webinar. Will there be a replay? Yes. It is recorded, and you should get a replay link that you can use. Gary, is the flask not to be placed in the refrigerator? It really is not best because there is a lithium-ion battery in the flask, and it usually will shorten the life of the battery. So that's you can put cold water in the flask, but you don't want to put the flask in the refrigerator. Melody says, great, more is better. How much for 140 pounds? I don't know what you're referring to. Are you talking about a person's weight and how much water to drink? If so, that would be 70 ounces of water per day. Melody, I should use the app. Yes, you definitely use the app. I tell you what, guys, I love the Echo Water app, and here's what it looks like when you come up to it. It's really, really beautiful, and I like it. You can connect. It records how much water you're drinking. It's a great, great app, and I highly recommend it. Thank you, Alicia. Echo Elite is offering 20% discount. Let me tell you guys something. If you're getting the Echo bath unit and you've ever thought about it or wanted to, or oh my gosh, or let's say you're going to finance it, because we have financing in our website. Built into the website are opportunities to finance the products. I'm telling you right now, this 20% discount is incredible. If you've ever thought about getting a bath unit, now is the time to do it, because that 20% discount is going to be huge. And any other thing that you're wanting to get, utilize this 20% discount. That's incredible. Great. What is the name of the app on Apple? Echo Water app. So you want to type in Echo space water space app, and it'll come right up. But it has our logo. You'll see our logo there as you scroll down. So yeah. Anna says, I've noticed the app doesn't record my consumption if I don't have the app open. It will catch itself up. That's one thing that they changed in the app as well. Julie, what is the code for 20%? Echo Elite. It's right on your screen right there. You see it says use code Echo Elite at checkout. And just for a short time period, I'm going to tell everyone, because I don't want everyone calling going, I had to get my discount. Use your discount. It's for the holiday, for Labor Day. So it's not going to last forever. So please use it. Can you move the Elite? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. What does that mean, Melody? Can you move the Elite? I don't know. I don't know. Help me know what that means. Awesome. So 20% discount. That's amazing. Okay. I'm going to wait for a couple more minutes and then I'm going to jump off. So I don't know, Melody. I don't know what you're meaning. To another time. I don't know. I don't know how to time travel. Just kidding. I don't know what that means. Can you move the Elite? I don't know what that. I don't know. Sorry. Anna says, will you be coming out with a shower head bath alternative? No. Well, we're not talking about it. There's some really inexpensive shower heads. I would tell you, we sell whole house filtration systems. I really think that's always better. Is to have your whole home. But if you're looking for a shower filter, get one that has KDF 55 and carbon at least. Some of them have vitamin C, but KDF 55 and carbon. Make sure you get highly activated carbon or a high grade of carbon, what's called catalytic carbon. Those would be the ones that I would do. Can you move the Elite to another room? We don't have a product called Elite. We have the Revive and the Refresh. The bath unit can be moved to a different bathtub, yes. And then the inhalation, yes. And of course, the Echo Flask can be moved, but I don't know what we don't have a product called Echo Elite. We have a coupon code. Yes, that's a good question for Alicia. Is part 1 and part 2 still available? This is a series, and we're going to keep them for a long time. So yes, part 1 and part 2 will be available to watch. Okay, Melody has 2 bathrooms. Yes, the Echo Refresh the bath unit can be moved to a different bathroom. Yes, Melody, absolutely. It has wheels. You can roll it, and you can put it in another bathtub. All you do is plug it in and move the tubes. Absolutely. Gary says, is there any reason not to use water if a person has seizures? I don't see a reason. Of course, I'm not your doctor, and so I don't want to give you medical advice, but with all the studies I've read and everything that I have read, there is no contraindication with seizures. There's no reason to think that it would cause a seizure or have a problem with a seizure. So thank you for that question, Gary. Susie says, if someone is having nerve issues and pain, how would using Echo Water going to help? It's going to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, which is typically where your pain is coming from. Yes, yes. Melody, thank you. We got there. We got there. She's talking about the bath unit. So yes. Um, Perfect. Yep, you can move the refresh to different bathrooms. Absolutely. Oh, does it change the poop? It will normalize your bowel and bladder program for sure. Absolutely. Gary says, thank you for all your help. You are so welcome. I'm so grateful for everyone being on this webinar series. We're grateful every week that everyone is here. We are grateful that that you're here with us, that you're doing that. Liz says, happy birthday. Thank you. Yep, my birthday month is August. I'm a Leo. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to bid you all farewell. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And thank you, Melody, for your hearts and your roses and your music. Love it. Thank you. Have a great evening, everyone. Please remember, use the code ECHO ELITE for 20% off. Don't let that pass you by. And even if it's one of the expensive items, you can finance it. And with 20% off, sometimes that's a huge amount. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate everyone. I'm going to end this webinar and grateful for everyone's being with us tonight. And thank you for your support. Please invite other people to come and watch these webinar series so they can be educated as well.